Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for the new moon in Pisces psychic astrology chart read for March 2nd of 2022, 12:35 p.m. Eastern time, but times will vary. Yeah, so here it is, the new moon in Jupiter. I was going to say Jupiter because Jupiter is conjoined with it, but of course it's the new moon in Pisces. And Neptune is in there too, but really it's pretty tight conjunction here with Jupiter at 14 degrees, and then the Sun and the Moon at 12 degrees. So that's right, 2-degree orb right in there, baby. So it's major oomph of this Pisces energy. Jupiter has been in Pisces since like right at the beginning of the year, maybe late December. And now it's like fully coming into its power because it's coming up to join with Neptune, and the new moon is really kicking it off. It's really coming into the Pisces power, and it's really coming into the true amplification that Jupiter always does amplifies the energy it comes in contact with. So Jupiter's really amplifying that Pisces energy very strongly at this time. So the new moon in Pisces, Pisces is this fish, it's the Neptune is its ruler. It's 12th house, Pisces, Neptune. And of course that symbol is always the one fish is swimming upward and the one fish is swimming downward. And that's, key to the expression of the Piscean energy. Just like with every sign and every placement in astrology, there's more than one way that it can express itself. So if it's expressing through this fish swimming upward, it's spiritual growth, beauty, art, music, everything that is creative. It's very powerful for being in a creative place. Because Pisces, I keep saying Jupiter, but the sign of Pisces, the energy of Pisces, is always not quite in the 3D reality. So the fish swimming upward, it's able to transcend the 3D reality. And then the fish swimming downward, it's escaping the 3D reality. And this can be through drugs, alcohol, lies and deceptions, mental illness. There's a lot of ways that the downward spiral of the Neptune or the Pisces energy can happen and express itself. So we always want to try to shoot for that fish swimming upward. That's always, the swimming upward. And when I said that, what the guide showed me is how the fish swimming upstream, in the... I've been getting bears so much. I've been dreaming about bears like almost every night. Not almost every night, but like several nights in a row. And they just showed me how the bears, is that the trout that swim upstream or the salmon that swim upstream to go back to the spawning ground? And the bears just sit there like picking them up, It's like, oh, here's another fish. I think I'll eat this one. And another one, I'll just grab, they just stand there, it's easy pickings for the bear, but it's a struggle for the fish itself. And my first thought about that was it can be difficult, swimming upstream. It can be difficult to go against this main flow of the collective consciousness, the collective unconscious. It can be difficult, but then it's also worth doing. In the same token, there's always an alternative current. There's always a way to go with the flow and get in that upward spiral. But you've got to lock onto that channel to get into that flow, to go into this alternative current that isn't so difficult. But with the bear energy, there was something I wanted to mention with that bear energy too. Oh, darn it. Sorry, I forgot. Oh, what was it? The other thing that came to me while I was speaking earlier is, okay, so we're doing the fish, it's swimming upstream, and where's it trying to get to its spawning ground to start the cycle all over again? And so what's the new cycle in astrology? We come out of Pisces and we go into Aries. And that that could be seen as like the spawning ground or the new beginning where the eggs are laid or the seeds are planted. And then the next thing that's coming up is that Aries Ingress right around the corner, which I do have that reading available if anybody wants to get on it. Don't forget about it. A lot of people have been ordering it, so it's been clicking right along, but just a quick reminder about that. But so that last little oomph, that last little, sometimes that's just the most difficult. Like people who are running like marathons or something, they'll tell you, boy, you just get on that last, little stretch there, and you just have to really do that extra push. Or the thought of dieting came up to me. When you first start, if you're going to try to lose weight, a lot of times, you just change a couple things and you lose a few pounds. It's like, oh, okay, I can do this. But when you get down to that last 5 pounds, that's always that last, that push. There's always that push, but then there's the reward. The push before the reward. This isn't really an energy of pushing, though. It's just an energy of staying the course. Staying on the alternative current. Staying in that alternative flow that's going to take you upstream. That's going to take you to the highest possible place of transcendent reality and transcending reality that's available from where you stand now. There's always just millions and millions of things. The guides came through as something earlier today. I was talking about how sometimes I see signs. I was asking or thinking to myself, actually, it was, how come sometimes I see signs and symbols and then bam, they're right on, and then other times I see signs and symbols and nothing ever happens with it. And it's a mystery. This is the mystery. It's Pisces and Neptune energy. It's like, what is this mystery? What is this mysterious thing? With the synchronicities. Well, the guides, I was just, thinking about that. And then the guides just came through right away while I was driving. They're just like, well, you have to be in the same vibratory state or in the neighborhood of the same vibratory state where you saw the synchronicity, because that reality is conjunct with or joined to, if that's making any sense. So you're at one vibe, and they're telling me, and they were showing me then that you have some wiggle room. It's not like, well, let's take it as a degree in astrology, Well, it was at 12 degrees in Pisces when I had that insight or that synchronicity. And then, it does. You have to be in that range again. So you have to be like an orb of that vibration in order to connect with that path. Connect with the path that synchronicity was showing you. So it seems like it's like, oh my God, you feel like you're walking a tightrope almost. Oh, I better stay in my body. But, with the Neptune energy, it's not even like that. It's just like, oh, I can relax. I can relax and relax into it. That's definitely a Neptune. I keep referencing Neptune because it's all the same vibe, Neptune, Pisces, and 12th house, okay? If you're not familiar with that. So that's in that Neptune vibe. That's in that Piscean vibe. Be relaxed. Be receptive. The Pisces energy is very much a receptive energy. It's a receptive. It's being malleable. It's being, because water flows around the rocks. The water doesn't try to beat the rock over the head. Well, the water erodes the rock over a long-term flow, but we create new grooves. It's back to that, creating that new groove. I'm hearing that old tune. Groove is in the heart. Yeah, 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 yeah. I was a little off key on that, but I can't think of any of it. I can see the dance moves. I can see the girl dancing in the video, the jumpsuit, the redhead lady. But anyways, that song came through. And if you've not seen my videos before, when songs come through, often there is meaning. So I'm not just sitting here goofing, just randomly singing songs. These are messages that, come through from the guides. Okay, so, and it's this, we have this whole progression, or procession, really, is what I want to say. We've got the stellium in Capricorn, we've got the stellium in Aquarius, we've got the stellium in Pisces, and then we've got the conjunction in Aries. So we're all moving forward. And what are we moving forward to? The Chiron in Aries, and the Pallas Athena is joined with old Chiron here at the time of not the Ingress. I'm so used to saying Ingress because I've been doing those Ingress readings at the time of the new moon in Pisces. So we've got this, the Pallas is joined with the Chiron here. So, well, they're both warrior. They're kindred spirits. Pallas Athena is a warrior, and so is the Mars Aries energy. So they're kindred spirit, and it's like she's coming in with backup almost. She's coming with backup. But Pallas Athena also rules over major insights and breakthroughs, major flashes of brilliance and genius. She's the MacGyver of the mythology people there. She comes up with tools, and the tools, of course, it can be like that. Tools, build a better mousetrap kind of thing, but it's more, with Chiron, it's more tools on our spiritual evolutionary journey, our healing. Chiron's all about the healing, right? So tools to heal in a very no nonsense way, in a very it's in your face. We're going to deal with it. It's coming to the surface, and we're going to look at it. We're going to deal with it, because Aries will look you square in the eye. Aries isn't often dream la land. Aries is very present in the current reality, here, now. It's all about the here and now. So this is joining for some awesome healing. Maybe this could bring about the insights as to what we want to heal. I want to look at, we've got Mercury conjunct, exactly conjunct at 19 degrees of Aquarius. Mercury and Saturn are joined together in the sign of Aquarius. Looks like it's doing a square to Uranus too. Now Uranus, of course, is the ruler of Aquarius. So there's even more Aquarian, even though it's in Taurus, there's even more Aquarian energy being tied in, or this Uranian Aquarian energy is being fueled through this aspect here. So anything could happen, and probably will. That's Uranian energy in a nutshell. Uranian Aquarius energy. With the Saturn and the Mercury, be careful what you say, because your words could have deeper meaning than you realize, or you may not be able to take it back, or you may not be able to mind your P's and Q's. Also, negotiations. Things could happen for people. Things could happen, like monetarily, some kind of negotiations could be taking place for long-term stability, but in a very new and exciting way when we factor in the Uranian Aquarius energy. Saturn is long-term foundation, Mercury is communication, talking, speaking. So these are some of the things that could come forth through this. You could get some surprising news, especially if you have something, it's the Juno that's squaring it, but this is still in a wide orb square. I'm going to count this. They want me to talk about it. That's what I just go with the flow. I don't rehearse anything. I don't look up anything before I start, because this is like if you were getting an astrology reading from me. I would just be in the flow. I wouldn't be looking up a bunch of stuff before we started. I'd look at the chart and just go from there. So I look around, and whatever the spirit guides show me where to go. And this was definitely coming through, is what they want to come through with next. So we're going to go with it. Yeah, it's not an exact square. It's an exact square to Juno, the goddess of love and beauty, the queen of the gods, the queen of gods. Well, Saturn is, or Jupiter's the king. Maybe she might have been married to Jupiter. But this is definitely a masculine and feminine, the man and the woman, the patriarchy and the feminine energy, and it's with Uranus. And that is getting so turned upside down, but it's meant to be. Uranus and Aquarius is always calling us to our higher goal, calling us into the future, calling us into the next stage of development, and the next stage of awakening, and the next stage of galactic interconnectedness. That's all this is about. So it's calling us to this next highest level. And I asked the guides about this too recently, because of gender is becoming so fluid, and I thought, well, maybe it's because people come from other planets where there is no gender. And I shouldn't have brought this up because I totally forgot what they said. That was part of it. They said I was correct, and that was part of it. But there was some other aspect to it. Sorry. I could look at my notes, but it would take forever to dig it all out. But yeah, they said that part was correct, because in other, gender is not such a big thing when you get into more galactic. And that's one of the things they said, that you can also find examples of that here on Earth. That there's sea creatures and different insects that don't need a male and a female to, continue the species, and that it's just it's a non-thing. That was one of, there's a whole chapter on it in the upcoming book, because that's one of the questions I asked. But yeah, so this male-female energy is becoming more fluid. It's becoming more outside of the old school norms, because we've got this, loosening of the patriarchal hold of things, or not loosening. It's not like we need to throw away Saturn or throw away the male energy. It's definitely needed. But it's a reconfiguration. It's a higher dimensional reconfiguration or higher dimensional realignment with some higher vibrational things. Reconfiguration, that's definitely the word. Okay, let's go down to the Capricorn stuff here. Yeah, because look, we've got the Venus-Mars thing that's happening. It's happening at the time of the Aries Ingress. I think it was happening in the last chart. Now we've got Vesta joined in there, and we've got Pluto. I mean, Pluto, it's dead on. Venus, Mars, Pluto. Passion is going to be running very, very high, people. It's going to be passion about a lot of things. I mean, with it being in the sign of Capricorn, we can go back to this old, Saturnian energy. Capricorn, Saturn, all similar, same vibration. So Pluto and Capricorn, and Pluto's coming to the end of its tenure in Capricorn. So it's, Pluto always really goes out with this big blast, Pluto's been rumbling and grumbling beneath the surface, ready to erupt, for some time here, for a lot of years. I wanted to find, I happen to have, I was doing my Aries Ingress reading, so I happen to have the ephemeras here. And I want to see, when did Pluto go into Capricorn? I've been meaning to check that out anyway, because I want to mention it. Not only in this reading, but in, readings for people as well. So it's looking like it was 09, or maybe it was 08, I bet. Yeah, it looks like it might have been bouncing back and forth, September 08. No, it was actually 09. November of 08. Well, we all know what happened in 08. There was the big financial crash stuff went on. Sorry, I think my phone is buzzing. Hold on. Sorry about that. So that was the beginning of Pluto's tenure. It came in like gangbusters, with Capricorn ruling big business, all this kind of stuff that kind of all came tumbling down around that time. And now it's going out again, so that there is going to be some kind of big other blast happening. I mean, maybe not during this new moon cycle, but it's coming. It's coming. As I think we got another year or so with Pluto still in Capricorn, but it's happening now, and people are getting what you're passionate about. This passion is rising. This is going to be like a clue or a foreshadowing maybe of what may be coming, whatever's bubbling up and brewing up right now. Now, with Venus and Mars and Pluto, it could just, we could bring it down to a real personal level, a mundane level, and just say, hey, you could meet somebody that you're just, passionate, especially if you have something at 27 degrees of, Earth, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, if you have 27 degrees of Cardinal, especially if if your Venus or Mars energy is in that realm there. Something could really be popping in your personal, in all of our personal lives, because Venus and Mars definitely have personal planets. Now we're bringing in Vesta here too. So Vesta is another feminine energy, the Vestal Virgins, but the Vesta is kind of Piscean. I believe they were just in the temple, like meditating and praying, like they were virgins because they were in spirit, almost like the Catholic nuns, perhaps. They were supposed to be just in spirit, spiritual practice all the time. I believe that was their function, but I could be off on that. But that's the vibe that's coming through right now anyway, just bringing in that real strong feminine vibe in a real spiritual way, like the Neptune energy. Also, this Venus, Mars, and Pluto, all this passionate stuff that's happening up here, the Piscean energy invites you to step away from that a little bit. Step away from striving to be the best, or competition, or trying to achieve the most, or get to the top of the mountain. I'm hearing that. You get to the top of the mountain, look out over the sea. It ain't easy. What is that? It ain't easy. Easy to get to heaven when you're going down. Satisfaction and satisfaction. Well, if anybody recognizes, I think it's It Ain't Easy. I can't think of the artist for some reason. I got a blank on that. But that song just did come through. If anybody recognizes it or want to put it in the, paste it in the comments. That's Bowie, isn't it? Yeah, that's old Bowie. Yeah. Real Bowie, the good Bowie, in my opinion. See him bringing it up. That was when Bowie was really good. Yeah, Bowie was always good, I guess. Anyways, I digress. You know, with this Jupiter-Neptune stuff and all this new moon in Pisces, all this powerful Piscean energy, music is definitely part of this vibe. And, you know, people, you could be getting messages through music, even if you normally, you know, maybe you always have been, but you're not listening. So just like listen for that. Because many times, you know, you just turn on the radio and the song will come on. It's just bam, right on. I mean, that just might be, I know that I have a strong correlation and connection with that, but I mean, that's available to everybody too. Just like dreams and Neptune and all this rules, dreams too. Everybody has access to this collective unconscious, or this, like, you know, subconscious mind, the spirit realm, all of which Neptune is rulership over, you know. And it could come through in just really simple ways. Now I'm hearing something about coming through, and it's a yes, it's a song by Yes. It spoke to me in sweet, accustomed ways. Yeah, that's what they're coming through. Starship Trooper. Yeah, it spoke to me in sweet and custom ways, or in custom ways. I don't even know. Yeah, that was coming through, but it does. The birds singing, it is sweet little ways that the universe communicates with us all the time. But if we're so focused on competition, and I gotta be the best at work, and I gotta kick ass and take names, and I gotta be the first, the best, the top, and you miss out on that. You don't hear it. You don't see it. It's always going on. It's another thing what the guides came through with in one of the books. I was talking about how I'm seeing all these weird looking birds, like these weird colored pigeons and stuff, and they're like, you know, pigeons are always around. You know, those weird looking, there's all kinds of anomalies that have always been around, but they've just been like, we haven't seen them in our personal and as a collective. They're like, going back to like gender, there's always been transgender people. There's always been gay people, you know, throughout history. But if you were an anthropologist and looking through, and you know, you would never see it portrayed or anything anywhere, like in our culture, until, you know, the last 20 years or so maybe. But, you know, the 2,000 years before that, you didn't see it, but it was still there. You know, so there's anomalies. There's things outside the norm. And it's not necessarily good or bad. It's not good or bad. It's not a judgment thing. It's just outside of, you know, falling in line in the structure of marching on, you know, like a good little soldier on, you know, march your way to the top, you know. There's all kinds of things on the peripheral outside of this really rigid, really path that many of us have. Well, as the society is definitely, you know, you go up, you join the service, you go to college, and then you get married, you raise a family. You know, rigid, and there's always been all this colorful, I'm seeing, like, I want to maybe do this as a piece of art, you know, there's always all this colorful stuff and all this beauty, like, I'm seeing, like, the psychedelic colors blooming everywhere, but we're so, like the horse with the blinder, so it can't see the freedom that it's missing, the freedom of expression, the freedom of creativity, the freedom of components of a 3D incarnation that maybe have been missing for many of us. We're just you know, we get, the alarm clock goes off, we get up, we go to work, we come home, we have dinner, we crash out because we're so exhausted from working, and the cycle, the hamster wheel thing, you know. There's all this beautiful, glorious energy going on everywhere, and most of it doesn't cost a thing. I was just thinking about that, you know, with my kids, you know. Because they're always like, well, you know, I was a single parent, and a lot of times money was tough, you know, stuff like that when I was raising them, and yeah, but we had great times, you know. We went to the library constantly, not to get videotapes, not to use it as a video store, but to actually get books, You know, we went to museums, which were free. We went to the zoo, which was free. We made art all the time and music, which was free. We did, you know, made our whole sidewalk chalk, the whole, the whole walkways and everywhere, you know. So there's many things, the best things in life are free. Then I'm hearing that song. But you can tell that to the birds and bees. I want money. No, it's not about that. It's about, you know, that's the energy of the Pisces. Notice the beauty. Notice the beauty. Notice the subtleties. The subtle beauties whispering in the wind. Like a tay in a wind. Now they're showing me the Jodie Foster movie. Like a tay in a wind. Okay, enough of this. It's getting goofy. Now we're going to reel it back in here. Probably stuff I missed. Yeah, this whole conjunction. Well, we do have. Let's talk about this, then we'll stop. This whole conjunction is with the nodes. It's trying the north node and it's sextile the south node. Now, again, with a little bit of rulership, if some of you aren't familiar, Scorpio, Pluto, it's all same energy, rulership. So the south node is in Scorpio, which Pluto is a ruler. So there's a tie-in there because it's rulership over it. So it's purging all this old shit, you know, all this old crap, all this old toxic energy, all this, you know. Scorpio's good, Pluto's good about, because it gets in the underworld, about digging down and rooting out all that ugly old stuff, and, you know, really making sure that it's good and dead. You know, it's not a thing anymore. It's not hiding or lurking. Pluto's, it's like, we're done with this. We're ending one phase, and then when Pluto goes into Aquarius, I mean, that's going to be so transformational. But it's a ways off yet. So it's working with that south node really powerfully, not only by degrees, by a sextile energy, but because of the rulership of the Pluto and Scorpio vibe together. Now we look at this whole thing as trining the north node, so that's where we want to go in life. You know, Taurus, Taurus's second house, it rules money, right back to the money thing. But here's the deal, Taurus is also very much about the earth and gardening and planting, you know, and I think, and then we have, you know, the Vesta in there. That's really an earthy kind of energy to me too. You know, this is about, you know, growing our own food, transforming how food is travels through big business. You know, I think we're going to see even more of this, you know, getting back to, you know, within your area, I forget what they call that. You know, that circle thing, farming in the circle within a 100-mile radius, or whatever the case may be, where, you know, you're, because it's always good to do that. I mean, that's an old school organic garden thing, because, you know, eat the stuff that's grown in your area, because it helps. It helps with whatever ails you. You know, it works on the parts of your body that need more healing or more energy. It contains those certain kind of nutrients for the different viruses or whatever's traveling around. You know, now, I'm not talking about, you know, the big one, but just that's an old school thing. You know, eat from your farm to table, that kind of thing. So I could see a lot more. That would be as a positive expression of it. You know, it could go wrong. But I don't know, with Scorpio energy, it's like, no, we're not going to do that. Because it could go wrong as where they're going to look at more ways to cut corners and make it even cheaper or toxic. Like, I don't eat fast food that often. Like, rarely. But I had, what was it, some Burger King fries the other day. It was my uncle's birthday, and he likes those fries, so we went and got some. And it was just it tasted like nothing, number one, and then number two, it just made my stomach, it just sat on my stomach like a rock. It's like it had zero nutritional value. And I'm not, you know, I have my certain junk food stuff that I like to have now and then. I'm not a completely purist vegan, you know, everything pristine eater. I try to eat healthy, but boy, that was just like, ugh. This has zero nutritional value. It just sat in my stomach like a rock. It was just like, ugh. So it could be, you know, these two working together could end up like that. Then the word subsidies and subsidizes came through from the guide. You know, it could be more like, well, how can we make it, you know, the cheapest possible way? Just some, you know, and who cares if it's nutritional, you know? just, you know, empty. It was just gross. I mean, and it didn't even taste like a potato to me. It just tasted like, because I like fried potato. I like fried potatoes. I make potato pancakes often. Homemade potato pancakes. You know, I like those. But this didn't taste like potato. It just tastes, I don't know what it was. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it could go in that direction. But just like everything, there's always this positive and negative expression of the energy. So with the North Node, hopefully we've got the positive expression. It's pulling in our favor. You know, we got that extra little bit of connection to pulling into our favor of taking the high road, I guess you could say, because the high and low. Because, you know, the high road of Taurus is also Venus creative. You know, Taurus is also majorly music. I think of Taurus the most as music. All my musician friends, anybody I know who's like really amazing always has something. Jupiter in Taurus, Taurus sun, rising moon, Venus in Taurus. There's always some Taurus hiding in their chart somewhere, and that's the ones that are like really are, you know, tremendous musicians. Yeah, so it's a powerful chart. There's going to be passions are going to be running high. Where do we direct these passions? Let's go within and seek higher guidance as to where to direct these powerful passions. Because this is a movable force. This is something that can really, I know the expression is immovable force, right? Or unmovable force or whatever, but this is a movable force. This can make things happen big time. So hopefully we're going to aspire to our highest calling. Hopefully we're going to check in, consult with our inner knowing, not be so mental in the mind, or definitely break free. That's one of the things I feel like with Saturn and Aquarius. We can break free of old paradigm things that, you know, just look to history. I know if you don't, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. I'm aware, and there are good things in that, but then there's the other side of that coin. It's just like, well, it's always worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It worked for them hundreds of years, and it's good enough for me. You know, all that kind of stuff. So there's a balance. You know, there's a balance. Yes, we want to take the wisdom from it, but we want to bring it forth in new ways into the future. Aquarius energy is pulling us into the future. Alright everybody, so speaking of music, my new first single, I'm releasing a New Age album, finally. I've got so much music that I've written over the years, and so I put together an album, and I'm going to release 2 singles and then the album. But the first single is coming out on 2/22, so it'll be prior to this March 2nd date. So if you're watching this earlier, before 2/22, then it's not out yet. But if you're watching it after, then please do check it out. And if you do like it, please, you know, add it to playlists, put it in your like lists, you know, on whatever. It'll be on all the platforms, so do check it out. Don't forget about the Aries Ingress reading, also available till the end of this month, end of March. So check that out. Many people are ordering it. It's very insightful. It's a psychic astrology reading, but using your chart and the Aries Ingress chart together as to the upcoming season. Okay, everyone? All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. Have the best new moon ever. And it's a dreamer. It's like living the dream. It could really be living the dream. But you have to, you know, it could take, it's a balancing act, and it can take a little effort. Okay? All right, everybody. Have a great one. Talk to you again soon, and bye.